biggest lesson this year has been to recognize the value of time, and also that everything and everyone has their own time. Now, I was born premature. I was always in a hurry. I always joked and I said I was born without patience. I was a runner. I have 8 speeding tickets. But it was until this past year that I've been able to slow down. And one of the things that I did, for example, was to post something. I posted a story last week that I wrote 3 months ago. And I waited until the right time. Now in this story, I share about the things that I accomplished, the things that I got, that I acquired. And with the exception of my children, every single thing was meaningless. Because if you read the story, you will think that I was probably very proud of myself. I was satisfied with everything that I've accomplished. But the reality is that I wasn't. I was not proud of myself one bit. I did not like myself. I was very unhappy. I was actually depressed. I remember being depressed almost my whole life. I did not feel good about my life or myself at all. And it was until last year that I finally decided that I wanted to change everything. And just like that, somebody sent me a video at the perfect time. And it was by watching that video that I learned about this process. And that's the same reason why I share stories, because I figured if I heard that story at the right time and I did something about it, somebody might hear my story also at the right time for them. So in this video, Dr. Lipton talked about the process of Psyche and how our perceptions affect our life, how our beliefs, our negative programs are what controls our life. So here's a story for you. About 3 months ago, my ex-husband got sick and him and his girlfriend were home. So he asked me if I could keep my kids with me, and they were with me for about 6 weeks. So after that period of time, they went back to his house, and one day I get a phone call from my son asking me if he could stay a little longer. When I asked him why, he said, because I haven't been with Papi for a long time. And I honestly didn't like it, but I said, sure, whatever. So later that day, having the awareness of my feelings, I started thinking, what is the belief that I have in me that is making me feel this way? And it was the belief that my son did not like to spend time with me as much as he liked to spend time with his dad. My belief, obviously my feelings. So I thought about it, and this has happened in the past. I have that perception about other people. So I know now that if I don't believe it, I don't see it. So I had to bring it to myself. I use Psyche to check with my subconscious mind if I believe. I enjoy spending time with myself. And my mind didn't believe it. So sure enough, if I don't believe it, I don't see it. So I used the process, I reprogrammed my mind, I recorded it, and sure enough, 5 minutes later, the negative emotions, the negative feelings, the negative thoughts about my son disappeared. The next day, my interactions with him are totally different, but the energy in me changes. Why is the energy important? Because I learned during the basic workshop that every time I think about something I don't like, every time I do something I don't like, every time I see somebody I don't like, or hear about something or someone I don't like, there is stress running in my body, negative energy. Now, just like the environment of a child affects their development, the same thing happens with our cells. When there's an excessive amount of negative energy, the development of our cells get affected. So, and that's how our immune system gets lowered. So I started thinking of all the things that I did not like. I made a list and I started thinking of all the things I didn't like. And I started using Psyche-K at the beginning of this year to make sure that I did not have anything in my life that I didn't like. Because even carrots, just thinking about carrots that I don't like, or celery, cause stress in me. So I started using Psyche-K and I reprogrammed my mind to remove the negative energy, to change the perception. And there was this one person that I just couldn't stand. I got so annoyed listening about him. I've had arguments with people talking about him. It was just somebody that I really, really, really disliked. Mr. Donald Trump. So one day, I made a list of all the negative perceptions or negative beliefs I had about him. Now, I've never met him, but I've heard of him and I've seen stories and I have perceptions about him. So I wrote them down and I used Psyche first to bring them to myself, because we want to believe that what we see in another person is not in us. But every single time I use Psyche and I checked about a perception, the negative perception is in me. How do I know? How would you know? When someone triggers you, when someone annoys you, when somebody makes you angry, there are negative perceptions that are in you, but also in them. So for example, with this thing about dishonesty, I bring it to myself. And I know my whole life I have lied and I've been dishonest. Does that make me a liar? No, I behave in ways. So I changed the program in me. Starts with me. Everything starts with me. I am honest. I am always honest, or however I want to put it. Now I will start behaving different, because the programs in our mind will also allow us to behave different. I see people different. I perceive different. I feel different. And there's no stress in me anymore. And guess what happened? I like the guy. My ex-husband was laughing because he's like, do you really like him? Well, I do. That was a big deal. Somebody asked me, is it because you want to vote for him? Has nothing to do with politics, had nothing to do with anything. It had to do with me. Because knowing what I know, knowing that there is stress in me running every time I heard his voice or somebody talking about him, I don't want to have that stress in myself. So I use the process. And now I know that it is possible to have connection with every single person. It is possible to like everybody, because as I transform my perceptions and I like them, I notice that I like them more people than I knew I did. In the past, my way was to disconnect, to disregard, to end relationships, friendships, to stop talking to people. But that's the opposite of what I want. So that was my easy way out. That was me playing victim. That was me playing little. Because embracing our feelings, embracing my feelings, being alive, rather than putting myself in a box. If you watch my videos, you'll remember. If I wanted to play as a dead person or if I wanted to be alive. So I chose to be alive. I chose to live. And having this process called Psyche-K that allows me to transform a perception in as quickly as 5 minutes. It's amazing. So my invitation to you right now is to think, how many things trigger you? What are the things that you don't like? Could be food, could be driving in traffic, could be people, could be memories. They are causing stress, constant stress in yourself. There are different modalities, but for me, knowing that I like things quick, Psyche was perfect. Psyche was truly perfect. We got along very well, and we've grown a deep relationship. I am in love with this process, truly, but more so than anything, I am in love with myself. So if you would like to learn about this process and how easy it is to transform and heal anything, I am sponsoring a workshop at the end of December. At the end of this year, middle of December in Fort Lauderdale. Or if you would like to try a session, send me a message because miracles happen every day. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.